Hi, I'm Jane. I'm waiting for my co-host to call in now. Um, I'm having Suzette and Don for sure, and probably Pianke. We are going to do a live podcast because Block Talk Radio is down. So I'm just gonna tell you tonight's topic. I'm gonna We're gonna talk about endorsements for each campaign, and there are a surprising number of some bona fide endorsements on Trump's side that were surprising to me. And then we're going to talk about the endorsements on Kamala's side of the table. And then we're going to discuss some of the fringe, kind of like they're supporters of Trump, but he might not always want them to be supporters because they're so um, difficult. Laura Loomer is a Jew, but she's also a social media whore, and she's done some crazy stuff to get attention. And she aligns herself with ultra conservatives, but on the other hand, I'll tell you why later, why she's destroying the Jewish cause by vilifying Muslims. That's another story. I'm going to wait till my co-hosts call in, and then I'll get into that story. So before the co-hosts get here, I'm gonna run through the endorsements for Kamala and Trump because I had them on another page, but if I switch pages on my land computer, it's gonna erase my voice. So 1 second. Somebody just I don't know what Pianke's doing. Pianke just said, "Who is this?" Okay, just a minute. I would like to do the endorsements, but one of my co-hosts is sending me messages that I don't understand. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's from the BTR network. Call in directly on Jane Hoffman's line. Yeah, I think he sent it to me on Facebook Messenger, but so what I've seen, I'm just gonna talk until my co-hosts call. What I've seen in the last couple weeks is I was reading some, like the dark side of political endorsements. So one of them, like this Mark Robinson creature, doesn't anybody vet him in the state of North Carolina? Isn't there proper news reporters there that have allowed him to become lieutenant governor? He is a black man who is lieutenant governor who said that if slavery were around today, he'd own some slaves himself. He also said that he wouldn't mind being a member of the Nazi Party. He was on some porn site with his real name making outlandish remarks. A lot of this stuff has come to the surface in recent days. I guess somebody was doing their homework, probably on the Democratic side. Either way, he was already losing in that state for a current race. And now Trump has had to back away from endorsing him because of his bad behavior. Trump always goes to the extreme when he defends people. He said Mark Robinson had the gift of speech equally as well as Martin Luther King, but if this particular person is endorsing slavery and negative organizations from the past, like Nazis. He sounds like he's kind of like a power hungry person that would latch on to anything to get maintain popularity or gain more. And now it's going to cause him grief. On the other hand, Laura Loomer, who's a Trump supporter, she can no longer get rides from Uber or Lyft. She was banned on Twitter at one point. She was blocked from Instagram. She was saying stuff about, like, I'm not going to take a ride from this company or this cab company or this Uber's type service because there's a lot Islamophobes. Hi, Suzette. You're the only one on the air so far.
Okay. Hello.
So I've done a makeshift introduction because nobody was here.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
the first thing I brought up, because I was just trying to kill time, is Mark Robinson and Laura Loomer and all the things I told you in our previous phone call.
Uh-huh.
Like what I was trying to say is, I was already past the Mark Robinson point, but with Laura Loomer, to maintain political longevity and ever getting a job in the real world, you can't say that like all Muslim cab drivers are dangerous or I'm a proud Islamophobe. Like it seems to me, she seems to be like someone who doesn't really pay any attention to really what the Muslim religion is about.
I think that's because of her Jewish upbringing. You know, they've been at odds
Well, they are
for a
people.
long time.
The Muslims are part of the tribe of Abraham, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But they also, well, I don't know. They also have their own laws or Sharia law, which is their way of life.
I know they have strict rules, and nobody in this country wants a theocracy, but it seems like the Christian nationalists are always pushing for that.
Yeah, I know, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, just it bothers me that people that talk about not having an opinion on somebody else, and then they end up having an opinion. You know, and they think that their way of thinking is the right way, but it's a melting pot. You know, and
I think a lot of Trump-style Americans think that anything outside the colored lines of Christianity and whiteness is a threat.
I suppose so. Yeah, they associate. That's what's so funny is the other side talks about the white supremacist Nazis, this and that, but yet most of the Democrats are white old people too.
Well, my friend Keisha, who is Bahamian, but she grew up in Florida, but she was born in the Bahamas. She said she didn't want Kamala Harris to pick a middle-aged to elderly white man, but she did.
Yeah.
Well, I think you know, like white men in general are not a threat, but I mean, the reason I say that, like Dick Cheney was a threat at one time, but now he's endorsing Kamala Harris. Like him and Bush were him and Bush were Halliburton investors, and they profited off the war.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that now Don thinks all white people are evil, but you know, there's just regular white people like me out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people have been brainwashed as far as to think. But then again, you know, if you have a black conservative, you'll have white liberals calling them black Nazis, you know.
Well, we have a black conservative on our show, Bianchi, but the thing I've noticed about Bianchi in the last 3 weeks is that it doesn't matter what you say about Trump, he's going to deny it. Like, he considers himself an intellectual, but yet he has no bargain, no debate points on any type of real facts. I'm not saying that he's ignorant, because he's not by any stretch. But I just think, I don't know. Bianchi is trying to talk to me on Messenger, but and I'm just gonna text him quick and tell him the show's on YouTube. I told him twice already. So can you talk a minute while I do that?
Sure.
Okay, keep going.
I think America needs to look at the policies rather than the person, and the person should come second. You should vet everybody and anyone as far as politics. They'll say almost anything to get your vote. And because presidents don't have a whole lot of power. It's Congress that has that power.
No, there's actually a book, though, called The Imperial Presidency, about how much power the president's gained since 1960.
I'm sorry, you were cutting out.
How much power a president has gained since 1960?
Oh, he's gained enormous powers. I mean, since then, and it's almost ridiculous to the point of the executive order is abused. There are purposes for that and uses for that, but the lines have been expanded to encompass almost anything that whoever's in office wants to try. I mean, you just look at the student loan debt, and DACA, and there's just so many things that have been reversed by the courts as far as that's unconstitutional. You're not within the boundaries
was DACA
of the presidency.
Was DACA reversed?
No, DACA was actually put on hold and expired under Trump. And I don't remember exactly what happened with that. I think he signed an extension on that.
Yeah, because I thought DACA, which is basically protections of immigrants who are already here and some are in college. It's kind of like one of the things in the title was dream.
Right, so the dreamers.
Yeah, I was living in LA at the time, and I had friends who were students at Cal State Northridge who grew up in immigrant families that came over here illegally, but they managed to get their legal citizenship of some nature. But I think there was at least one student I knew that was still illegal but managed to get funding for college. I don't remember how it worked, but she ended up getting her PhD at UCLA and was a geologist.
Oh, wow.
But like they, in their mind, they think they deserve it because they said the border didn't move us. We didn't move the border moved us, meaning that Mexican Americans were in California long before it became a state.
Yeah, but then after it became a state and joined the Union, then there were laws put in place about that. So it was no longer, just a state issue, it's a federal issue. And so California can't be responsible for all of the immigration policies, when the federal government that's their responsibility.
There was a lot of discrimination in the Depression. Like a lot of Mexicans were sent back to Mexico because once the economy went sour, they started blaming the immigrants. So they did send a lot of Mexican laborers back over the border. And there was a famous author named Upton Sinclair who ran under the Socialist Party in the Depression. So there was treatment of immigrants was even worse in the 1930s and 40s than it is now. Now people just complain about it, but not much is being done.
Very true. And people feel that way almost in every country, when they have an overabundance of immigrants or people who want to immigrate into their country. And I use that word loosely, immigrate, because we're seeing that the people that come here illegally do not want to be American and acclimate to how Americans are. You need to speak English, if you're going to communicate. If you're lucky, you'll be able to run into somebody that may speak your language. But there are some chances of that. You have more likelihood of that in California than you would any other state, I would think. Maybe New Mexico.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who come here, like Filipinos and Armenians and Koreans, they already have people here.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't want to come unless they have people here already.
Right. And so that's where the little Chinatown comes from and Koreatown comes from. And you really don't see a little Mexico anywhere in not just California, I'm sorry, across the United States. It's mostly Korea, China. What's another one?
Well, you don't have to have a little Mexico because big Mexico is 40% of the LA population.
I know.
It's like 4 out of it.
What I'm saying, though, is that, rather than these groups, try to be American, they've just basically brought, their traditions, their way of life, everything else into America and practice those traditions, so they don't have to learn to be American, or try to be American.
Well, they're also integrated. Like, the common laborers, like the men who never go to college, they just go about their business and do their job. And then the people who want to like rise up in society, like become bankers or college students who go like for nursing or teaching or something else, then those people make a bigger effort to integrate with what other people would call white dominant culture. But in LA itself, there is no white dominant culture because there's too many differences. I mean, there's too much. There's not a dominant group.
Right. It's just a lot of everybody.
Okay, I gotta call Bianchi back because he's called me twice on this phone. So hold on a sec.
Okay.
I guess he left me 2 messages.
Oh.
But I didn't have it on block, so 6774953. I'm sure our listeners don't care if I make this brief interruption.
I'm sure they wouldn't. You have anybody in the chat room?
I haven't. Wait, I'm just going to call him directly on the cell phone.
Okay.
So, you know how like you can add a call?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me get into our call. Okay, more. Okay. 314-677-4953. Okay, I'm adding him to the call.
Hello.
You're on the air. You're on the air.
How come you're late?
You called in 3. Suzette, can you hear us? Okay, Suzette's on the line, Bianchi.
With all the technology we have today.
I didn't see that you called me 3 times on my cell phone. Okay, so Suzette, you can hear us, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you guys, Bianchi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we're gonna start the show out. We're gonna start it out by talking about who's endorsing who for president. So I'm gonna go through the list of who's supporting Donald Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have William Barr. I'm going to especially mention the people that surprised me. William Barr, who he was Attorney General. Ben Carson, Kellyanne Conway, not a big surprise. Betsy DeVos, the Michael Flynn, he's scary. Nikki Haley. These are all former cabinet members. Kash Patel, I don't know who that is. Mike Pompeo, who was our he was our international negotiator, you know. What was his exact title? Do you guys remember? Okay, Don's calling in. Hold on.
Hello.
Okay, hold. Don, you're just a minute. Don, no, I know. I was bringing. Don's in here now.
I can't hear you. You must.
Well, you know what? Everybody else's is perfect, so you're gonna have to get a better phone.
You're still muffled.
All right, hang up and call back, Don. Okay. Okay, so anyways, there was some surprising people that supported Trump. Just I'm letting Don back in. Okay, Don, Bianchi, and Suzette are on the air.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody.
Okay, I'm gonna mention a few more people who supported Trump. There's 4 people in the Department of Education, which is surprising because he wants to eliminate that. Adam Bowler, Michael Caputo, and Vanilla Singh. And then a Homeland Security official named Thomas Homan. And like I said, Bob Barr, who's probably William Barr's brother or something. He's a U.S. attorney. Let's see here. There's a few more that surprised me. I'm trying to find them.
Pompeo surprised
I
me.
can say you supported Donald Trump. You ready?
What? Go ahead.
My grandson came in and says 50 cents and supported Donald Trump. Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z.
Snoop Dogg is supporting Trump?
Jay-Z's, Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne?
Yes. He's got hundreds of millions.
He supported the Democratic convention.
That's
He supported Donald Trump.
Snoop Dogg didn't endorse Donald Trump.
Snoop Dogg has endorsed Donald Trump.
Okay,
My grandson wouldn't come in line with it. He's just out of college. He supports Donald Trump. Michael Jordan supports Donald Trump.
You mean before or this friend?
He's supporting now.
Okay.
Okay, can I tell you something? Can I?
The Nigerian society is supporting Donald Trump.
Snoop Dogg didn't endorse Donald Trump. He said he has nothing but love for him. That's
Dan Goatee, the Nigerian billionaire in the United States, he supports Donald Trump.
Okay, Snoop Dogg said he has nothing but love for Trump, but he didn't endorse him.
He don't have to publicly endorse him.
Well, you're stretching the truth, dude.
To his followers.
Oh God. I don't think he fully endorsed Donald Trump. I'm sorry.
He's supporting Donald Trump. Why should he?
Because Martha Stewart wouldn't.
Yeah, well, Martha Stewart probably supported him also.
Okay.
Money. It's my business. It's my business. The Texas Oil Association is supporting Donald Trump. The Associated General Contractors is supporting Donald Trump. The memberships of the Teamsters is supporting Donald Trump. The memberships of the UAW is supporting Donald Trump.
You're going too fast. Okay, for Kamala Harris, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden are supporting her. Magdalena Andersson, leader of the opposition Swedish party, is supporting Kamala Harris. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, the Prime Minister of Guinea, Vicente Fox, Mexican president previously.
He can't vote in the United States.
He still can endorse.
People that can vote in the United States.
We're not talking about voters. We're talking about endorsements.
I don't know any of those people. They don't mean nothing to me.
Lars Rasmussen, the Minister of Denmark. Matteo Renzi, the Prime Minister of Italy.
Vicente Fox, he disparaged African Americans with that little monkey that they have on their postage stamps in Mexico.
Okay, listen. Did you know 34 presidential candidates got murdered in Mexico this year as they ran for president? Okay, just let me finish up quick, okay? Dick Cheney is supporting Kamala Harris.
He got warrants out on him in Nigeria.
Al Gore, Javier Becerra, the U.S. Department of Secretary of Health and Human Services, Pete Buttigieg, who's an awesome person.
He's a booty poker.
So what? That's his only downfall. Michael Blumenthal, U.S. Secretary of Treasury. J-Lo, Oprah, Meryl Streep, and Julia Roberts. Don't laugh. Chuck Hagel, U.S. Defense Secretary. Eric Holder, former U.S. Attorney General. I just thought I'd throw this in here to mix it up a bit. I'm gonna.
Eric Holder's inserted weapons into the cartel that has been traced back to killing U.S. police officers.
Are you eating your peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Who the hell is going to follow Eric Holder?
I'm just telling you who's running, okay? And Oprah had a town hall with Kamala, and there were 5 to 7 celebrities on the Zoom.
That was funny.
I thought it was kind of cute, and it was cute in its own little way.
Let's know what you're done.
And Kamala said it on live TV that if anyone invaded her house, she'd shoot them dead. Which I think
she said she's going to take people's guns.
She might take yours.
She's illegal.
She's got more power than you, Bianca.
She's illegal. She's not even a U.S. citizen. Suzette, you know that.
Suzette asked me if you're still harping on that same topic.
You know, I'm a United States citizen, and the U.S. Constitution means a lot to me. We got people that swear oath on Bibles to uphold and defend the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you then, Bianca. Why is Project 2025 trying to change the Constitution?
Why is Muhammad Speaks trying to change things too? You ever read the back of it?
Who?
Project 25 has no legal authority. The Democratic Party has no legal authority. The Republican Party, the Libertarian Party, the Tea Party, none of them have any legal authority
to change the Constitution.
I'm saying that Project 2025, they want to remove structural, institutional foundations of the Constitution, including the civil service where you take tests to get
The
non-political.
Constitution has nothing to do with civil service taking tests.
But it's a non-political launching board for any American who can qualify for federal jobs based on intelligence.
The Constitution has nothing to do with that. You know, that's against me. People will go by anything they hear. They said Donald Trump's supposed to cancel. You can't not cancel the Constitution. There's a prescribed way in Article 5 on how you can amend it. If you cancel the Constitution, everything is off.
Don, do you want to pitch in right now? Don Gallimore?
Yeah, no. I'm just listening to all of this stuff because, James, you're not up to speed.
I was talking about the civil service that I learned about in college, where I can go get a federal job at the Department of Education or somewhere in DC. If I take my test, I got my foot in the door.
That has nothing to do with the Constitution, though.
I know, but it's still part of the structure that was created as an outline executive branch implementation as departments grew and grew over the last 100 years.
Right, and that's just a part of the process because that's what the problem is with the Constitution is that there's so much going on that they have to have the amendments and all the articles restructured or not restructured, added on to, subtracted from, because the Constitution isn't keeping up with the modern times. It is with many things, but not everything. And that's one of the reasons why I don't mind the Constitutional Convention, so that we can clean some of this stuff up. There have to be requirements and limits on what can be spoken of, addressed, but I don't see a problem with the Constitutional Convention. Everybody's running on fear, and they're scared of everything, and I'm just laughing. As I say, it's funny. All these pieces of crap people talking about stuff they don't know, and they're scared.
We started the show out with extremists, with Laura Loomer and the North Carolinian lieutenant governor who said if slavery was around, he'd hire a few slaves himself.
Right, Mark Robinson. And he's still, today he received a lot of criticism, and he's saying that he's got, and his cabinet quit. So he's saying that he's got enough support, enough resumes in the bank, so that he doesn't have to worry about anything about his race, and he's almost confident.
He's already losing the race. He was losing when Trump endorsed him.
Racism is not illegal.
What?
Violate somebody's civil rights. Right. And it's going to be great when
they can say on a porn site outlandish things if they're a public servant. Watch her.
On the bell, I can't think of the name of this show. The things he said, he had a right to say them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, he's still a creepo.
He's not if he says he's a Nazi, he's a black Nazi. So he's a creepo. He's just stupid.
Well, Adolf Hitler wouldn't have found him fit.
Well, he was a bodyguard. How would he have any contact with Hitler?
He said
you guys come up with some of the strangest things.
Because he said
he was a Nazi.
He said if the Nazi Party was around today, I might join it.
But they're not around. I tell you what, they are around. He said, I don't know what you're thinking about, Bianchi. The Nazi Party is alive and well. Absolutely. And if he wanted to join them, let him join them. Right, but how crazy would that be, a black Nazi? He might get he's saying if people want to join the Nation of ISIS in the Nation of Islam. Well,
you're a member of the Ku Klux Klan, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I don't have any spare time to join any more organizations.
I was thinking of joining the Mormons.
Democrats were saying for a while that if you support Donald Trump, then you're a Nazi. And so for black conservatives, they were calling them Nazis. And so that's absurd, but that's what's happening. And
They call us coons. They call us sambos. They call us house niggas.
Right.
I haven't. No one in recent years have called black Sambos.
Yeah,
They have. They call them.
and the sense that they call us animals, and the worst thing is that white men are much hairier. Got they got some.
No, you got some black hairy too.
Don, be careful, because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube.
Well, the guy that just died, had the Darth Vader voice, he's hairy.
Oh, John Earl Jones.
John L. Jones, yeah, he was hairy. He's quite hairy. Hairy.
I gotta make a disclaimer for a minute. YouTube, these are two black men talking about their own race. End of disclaimer.
I'm a human being. I'm a United States citizen. My nationality is North America.
What? Yeah, mine too.
Well, let's not be talking about black people in any shape or form, except for their accomplishments.
The black job is at the White House, so we're being groomed to take over the job, and we will be benevolent leaders. We won't be dictators. We won't be the Mein Kampf every night when we go to bed, like some former presidents do. We're just trying to make sure that everybody works. And when I say we, I'm talking about black people. Just trying to make sure people work in harmony for as long as they can, so that we can move on to another motherfucking country and a nation and continent, so we can conquer it too. Right now,
Kamala Harris will do a good job.
Well, you saw where
Harris is illegal.
She's gonna do a good job.
I know. If she is sworn in, it will be null and void.
Yeah, well, you yelling is not gonna do it. Put in the.
I'm not the only one. That's lawsuits proceeding, making their way. One's coming out of New York.
Okay, good. Because I want to see clarification too. For the most part, I don't want to see a civil war that's going to happen on January 7th, the president has already said there might be violence if he doesn't win or if the election is found to be fraudulent. He's already said that. He's preparing us for that. We're being prepared for a race riot by three sides. One is going to race riots, and these sides take care of their ballots, like some of them are contemplating about doing.
Bianchi, be realistic. There's only 5 weeks left.
If she was illegal, she should be taken off the ballot.
Early voting's already started. Hello.
The thing is this. You yourself, if you're a U.S. citizen, you should be outraged that this is going on.
I don't agree with you that she's an anchor baby. She's an anchor baby. She's not illegal.
Anchor baby is not in the Constitution.
And the courts need to settle this once and for all, and they refuse to do it. So in the meantime, her status remains unknown as far as
court cases.
She's not a citizen.
1814 all the way up to 1939 that has settled that.
Yeah,
you got politicians and others that refuse, and they need to be called on treason. They treason.
But she was born on American soil.
That does not make her a U.S. citizen.
It does not. Them Chinese women that's having the baby, those Chinese women, those Chinese.
Let him finish.
The 14th Amendment establishes citizenship. Article 2 establishes eligibility for president. 14th Amendment has nothing to do with natural born. It establishes citizenship.
Right. But, the citizenship obviously is there, or she wouldn't have gotten this far.
No. What you have is people that's ignoring it, Don. You know that.
Well,
they ignore it, and they playing off the ignorance of the public.
When she becomes president, your house is going to be the first one she raids. Because if you signed your name to that lawsuit out of New York, then she'll know who it is, and she'll come by.
She come to my house. She ain't even a citizen, so how's she gonna come to my house?
Because
I don't pay no attention to her.
I know how to.
Okay, you guys, I have to run to the bath. Suzette, you're in charge. I have to run to the bathroom.
Just pee in the bucket.
No, she does that.
I already did that Saturday night in the kitchen. Here's another topic. Trump's campaign when he was former president cost $80 million in taxes to raise tariffs against other countries just so we could get manufacturing jobs back in the U.S. J.D. Vance was interviewed on Meet the Press, and he said that Trump's policies about raising tariffs are not going to cost that much this time. Do you guys do you agree or disagree?
We had
I'll be right back.
illegals killing Americans in Missouri left and right. We had a police officer, David Lee, was killed by illegal on a black police officer. Did you know that Trump, every police officer that get killed, Trump sends them money, their family. They don't talk about that.
Right, he does.
Takes it out of his pocket.
Yeah. I don't understand what the topic is about. So what? Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He doesn't take a salary. He's trying to make people understand that he might be a nice person. There ain't nothing nice about him.
He don't have to be nice, Don. It's his policy.
He's trying to make policy. He's going to lose. You're not getting it, Kim. He's trying.
It's his policy. I don't care if Donald Trump, it could be Mickey Mouse. I'm going to stand on my principles. I stand for the United States Constitution.
You're not helping him win. I'm talking about helping him win.
I am helping him win. You know how? Because I have a state legislature and people in this state support him wholeheartedly.
But what are you doing? Are you going out door to door? Are you making phone bank calls?
I'm a volunteer with the Louisiana Convention of State and the Convention of State Action, and I talk to politicians and I write letters and send off packages. I sent off over 20 packages to people like Ted Cruz, like John Kennedy, like the Secretary of Louisiana, like Josh Hawley. Out of my own pocket.
I just wondered what kind of action, because all these people are talking madness. The only way you're going to get her off the ballot if you believe that she's not a naturalized citizen is you got to write the letters you just said.
It's not about being a naturalized citizen. She's not naturalized. She's not a citizen, period. Her parents, do you understand? Wait a minute.
But she was born in America.
The 14th Amendment says that you have to be under the jurisdiction of the United States. Her parents was never
under the complete jurisdiction, not partial, complete jurisdiction.
I was just going to say.
All persons born, listen to it. All persons born are naturalized. Naturalized is for an immigrant that gives up their citizenship where they came from. They gives up the jurisdiction where they came from, and they become under the jurisdiction, the complete jurisdiction of the United States. Not just getting traffic tickets, not just jaywalking tickets. No, they give up and become completely under the jurisdiction of the United States. That's what it says. Our parents was never.
Can I take a turn?
Was never.
Stop. Okay. Last month and a half.
Can everybody give Suzette?
I feel so sorry for you, Bianchi, because you feel passionately about the bullshit you can't control.
It ain't no bullshit.
It is, because she would have gotten.
Well, then if that's the case, Don, let's do away with the 13th Amendment.
She's at. Okay.
She's there because of ignorant and corrupt people.
White people. They're white people.
No, you got blacks too.
No,
I can name a lot of them.
these white people are trying to get her out with this 14th Amendment.
They don't. You got people of all different hues that's on this issue. The Constitution does not mention any skin color.
No, but your project does. I mean, you're.
Wait a minute. You just said it.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you guys in 1 minute if you don't.
Now show me. I don't have nothing to do with no Project 20. That's any organization can come up with those suggestions. That organization's been doing it since time memorial.
Yeah, they come and he wins. They come and take your house because you're a black man with a house. That's what a part of it is.
What gives who the power to come take my house? Hell, she's talking about doing it. She's talking about doing it with unearned taxes, unearned income taxes.
All right, can you guys speak? Be quiet a minute. I want to let Suzette give some feedback.
Suzette, give some feedback.
Suzette.
The feedback should be, as Bianchi stated, and I'm in agreement, that there should be more people outraged about this. And then every time we let it go by, before you know it, the person's not going to even have to be born in America and will be running for president, and people will vote for that person. And you know, country's already going to hell in a handbasket as it is. And then you have persons that do not belong.
We've ever been.
Right.
What's that?
We're not going to hell in a handbasket. We're the best position we've ever been in our lives.
How could we be with the World Health Organization running our health?
Oh, God.
Our health care.
Record high.
That's right. Don, when you start your black nation, I'm coming there and run for president.
You can do that. We're looking at property.
And I'm going to make all of y'all hang your drawers on the clothesline.
That's all right. We used to do it. They ain't been new. Bottom line is that we're looking to start a new country. Here's
another thing. What about Project 25 is not any good? The educational mention they talk about is excellent.
They're talking about forcing Americans to be Christians. They're talking.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Bianchi.
You know what? The Constitution. Who is they? The Constitution.
It's the old white guys from the Heritage Foundation. They want.
The Heritage Foundation doesn't have any authority.
I know, but they want.
Are the founders of they're the supporters of the 2025.
They don't have no civil authority.
No, of course.
It's a plan.
What about that for? They have suggestions.
Those are suggestions that will be implemented once 45 gets.
Who's going to implement that?
They have to go through Congress.
They have, yes, and that's the problem.
What? So that tell them what?
Congress, and it's not going to happen.
Tell them what amendment prevents that. The First Amendment prevents that. They cannot respect any religion.
You darn. Yeah, tell the
You're talking
Christian.
about anybody who respects anything. You're talking about 45. You're not getting it, Bianchi. You're so far.
45
The man is destructive.
45 will be. 45 does not make laws.
Nope.
But he can rule executive.
He does not make
That's
laws. There's
amazing,
only
right?
two entities in the United States that make law. One, state legislators. Number two is Congress.
God, Jesus Christ. I'm not talking about making laws. I'm talking about implementing laws.
How are you going to implement something that don't exist?
Executive order. Executive order.
Executive order is not a law.
It is. It becomes a law. It's promulgated. It's published.
It does not.
And it is.
The executive orders cannot out-Trump the United States Constitution.
Exactly.
No, they can't. But they don't. Again.
Oh, man, get out of here. Let's go on to something else.
Look at what happened when Trump was president during his term. When he tried to defund states that had sanctuary cities in them or considered themselves in a sanctuary state, it was taken to court, and the court said, no, you can't do that. And he was going to do it by executive order, and the court said, no, you can't do that. When he wanted to institute a ban on countries that had terrorists, Muslim terrorists or just terrorists, because they were on the terrorist list that was created by Obama, actually, countries that had people that could not be vetted before they came into the United States. The courts overturned his executive order on that, even though Obama had one while he was president with certain countries, and Trump was just extending that. He wanted to know who was coming in this country from those countries that could not be vetted. Their people could not be vetted. They couldn't tell who these people were and what they were about. And so we didn't want to let anymore, because we were having issues at that time at the end of Obama's presidency with terrorists and from these countries. But almost any move that Trump had to make or tried to make with executive order, he was fought tooth and nail through the courts to reverse it, overturn it, suspend it, or whatever. It had to be done through Congress. So there's no way that he can just come in and start writing executive orders to make all these dictatorship things happen.
Yeah, the great thing about it is that we do have checks and balances, and most of Project 2025 will never get to see the light of day. That's
right.
It depends on which ones you're talking about.
It's not going to make.
The first day of his presidency has already said that he's going to get
which one?
He was going to get.
Slow down, Bianchi.
He was going to get revenge, Bianchi.
No, which point of Project 25?
I said everything. I said Christianity will be mandated.
You can't. Article 1. We've already said that Article 1 prevents that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You said that. You have no clue what.
But Trump controlled the U.S. Supreme Court. They're in bed with each. They're in bed with each other.
Graduate. Here's a recent. Quentin, tell him what dedicated to this. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Thank you. I don't even know what they talk about.
No,
I'm trying to get the fuck off of this subject because
he said, "Wait a minute, tell him what." I just don't know the full. Tell him that you said you don't agree with. I don't agree with most of what you said though. I will say that most people that bring up the question of Project 2025, I ask them, have you read it in its entirety?
I've read most of it.
No, read it in its entirety.
Oh, that's okay.
And the only reason, listen to why I'm saying this. I'm only saying read it in its entirety because if you read something in its entirety, you have all the facts about it. See, my stance on Project 2025 is that it's been used as a propaganda tool for people to just say they hate it when they haven't read anything in it.
I don't think that Project 2025 really has anything to do with the presidential election right now. Trump has denounced it 1,000 times, and Kamala and them, we know that they're not talking about it as well. So when people bring up Project 2025, for the people who have read it in its entirety, like me, I would say that it has nothing to do with the election in the first place. So it's spoiled milk. It doesn't matter. So when people raise when someone says Project 2025 to me that says that they haven't read anything about policy or politics in the last 2 to 3 years, because that project's been out almost since the 80s. That project has nothing to do with anything in politics right now. Yeah, my phone back. Also, hold on, one more thing, and if we're going to talk about Project 2025. We need to raise the question. Now, this is from, I'm specifically talking about African Americans or blacks in America. We need to raise the question on why our communities, our education system is the lowest in the country.
You mean in the world?
We have the worst education system in the country. Now, you ask yourself, whose responsibility is that? Whose fault is that? We can't blame that on Trump. Trump was in office for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020.
I can answer that question. I've been working in schools for 12 years. One reason is the kids are lazy. Kids are lazy nowadays.
Yeah, but Jay, you can't legislate laziness.
I didn't say you could. I'm just giving you a fact.
Well, neither can some projects. Now, there's some good things about it, like getting rid of the parts of the Department of Education. A lot of it does need to be gotten rid of. It should go back to the states.
So, are you the football star in Louisiana?
And we done what?
Are you the football star, Bianchi's nephew?
No.
Oh, you're not?
No, I played baseball. I never played football.
Okay, well, I want to say one thing about education because I'm a teacher. I've been working as a para the last year, but I sub as a teacher. One reason is everything's too technology dependent. Like a lot of the stuff they have to do is in their laptops. They don't use pens and pencils and papers.
I remember a time where when I started school, we were still learning how to do cursive. They don't do that anymore. I learned multiplication in 3rd grade. They don't do that anymore. I learned about American history in elementary school. They probably don't teach that anymore.
Well, I worked in a school last year where they taught cursive, math, and history. So maybe Minnesota's an exception to the rule.
Well, I think when it comes to black kids in America and why academic performance isn't well, is it starts at home and it starts with parents. Well, if you look at most parents, African American communities now, we struggle to have both father and mother in the house, and we also don't have it to where mother and father have good jobs, they were educated as well, and they don't have problems with drugs. So when it, and no, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in white communities as well, but what I'm saying is to fix the problem with black kids in school, it starts at home. When you and my mom taught me stuff, I learned half the stuff that I know from at home and not in class. So I think that with these kids, and I think it's all kids nowadays, they don't even focus on the important things that they need to focus on when these kids are in elementary school. And by the time they get out of middle school and get into high school, some of these kids are thinking about, I have to maintain a 4.0 GPA. If you don't come from that background, if you're not taught that since you were a child, that type of stuff doesn't matter. In the black community, we focus on pushing our kids to be NFL running backs before we push them to make sure they get a high school diploma. So I understand where people come from, where they think that the government can help and stuff like that. For with certain aspects, I think people need to stop complaining. They need to look at themselves in the mirror, and they need to do a better job of how they raise their people in the community.
I agree. Like, I moved my Black Liberian son from LA Unified School District to a 99% white community in Minnesota, and they had 16 valedictorians who got over a 4.0. I don't even know who they picked to make the speech. But one thing I noticed is that, well, by the time they leave middle school in Duluth, they're all proficient at typing and creating like essays and documents and research. But I do think that some kids still slip through the cracks, but they have a STAR program where you can make up classes. You go into a computer lab and it's a self-paced classes where you can make up credits. So there are some provisions for people who fall behind.
What does Suzanne think?
Suzette?
What does Suzette think?
I think as far as the education system goes, I think it's been designed to fail. And in Black communities, in all communities, but Black communities seems the most. And those are the ones that actually have Black elected officials, and those officials are supposed to be looking after their own, except they are, in a sense, looking after their own pockets because the schools are still neglected. The teachers, as far as their neglect to the children, and the whole systems in those communities seem to be failing. But it just seems like it's doing it all over. Now, where you have whites, everybody all falling behind, and that has to do a lot with our immigration system. It has a lot to do with the teachers union. It has a lot to do with, there are a lot of different things involved in the education system. And so returning it to the states and the school districts and giving money to those districts for the parents and the district people, school members, board members, to decide what's the best way to educate the children in that community, because not one size fits all. There should be a standard, but we don't even meet that anymore. Very few children meet that. But I was looking at an article back in, 2014, 2015. There was a big push, and not only that, but just for Chinese mothers to come here. It's called, baby tourism. So they would have these women held up in these hotels just so that they could have their babies, so they could call their baby American. They were not American, but the babies, they thought, they were told that if they come and you have your baby in America, then your baby will be an American, a U.S. citizen. And that was misinformation given to these ladies that did that. Unfortunately, they were told that they could have health care, education, all this stuff because their baby was a U.S. citizen. And they later learned that that wasn't true, that in order to have citizenship, they would have to wait till 18 and declare their American citizenship and apply for a green card for their families when they turned 21. So they couldn't go back to China because at that time, that was when there was the one child rule that they had in China. And so they had their babies here, and China wouldn't allow that over there. And they weren't allowing them to go back, so they got stuck. And a lot of them had regretted making that decision. Yeah, it's all, but we're just still talking citizenship here. I'm sorry, I'm going back to.
It's okay. It's all relevant. It's all relevant.
So I thought that was interesting, that because her mother and father were not citizens, but she had the baby here, and the husband's still back in China, or the father of her child, said she had it here. It wouldn't be until the child turned 18 that they could declare citizenship. So.
Well, then why do they let Mexicans? I knew when I worked in San Fernando Valley at Pacoima, and San Fernando, a lot of Mexican mothers came across the border and had babies, and they got welfare, they got food stamps, they got stuff like that.
You say, why do they let? Well, the Constitution does not let that be. You got some ignorant, corrupt people that's doing that.
Well, also, I had a lot of kids enrolled in my class who had illegal parents. They had illegal parents, but the education system couldn't. It wasn't the school's job to determine if the parents were illegal.
Right, because every child is entitled to education.
The child takes on the status of the parent. If the parent's illegal, the child's illegal.
Well, they got free education at San Fernando Middle.
Because you let it happen.
I didn't let it happen. The school district.
People let it happen. They should have told the judge to go kick rocks.
The white judge should kick rocks.
It was called a birth choice.
We're not doing something illegal.
Yeah.
When the federal judge told Louisiana and Alabama to create all black voting district, they should have said, go kick rocks. We ain't doing it. I agree.
The one thing I liked about illegals is they had these tamale carts they'd push around, and I'd buy tamales. They tasted good.
Back then, anything tasted good to you, James.
Kiss my ass, Don. And by the way, Bianchi, my line is eat. My line when I'm mad at people is eat rocks, not kick rocks. So guess what I did, you guys, halfway through the show? I went in my drawer and I got my Obama for President hat, and I'm wearing it on YouTube.
I thought you got your Project 2025 hat from the 80s.
No, I have my blue Obama President hat on 2008.
Well, all I got to do is Bianchi say, I'm proud of you. I got my kids high up, and that's because I did a lot of work with them. My wife and I, we work with our kids all the time. A lot of traveling, taking them around, seeing historic sites, things like that. And for me to say that I read half of 2025 and he read the whole thing, I'm impressed. And I'm not impressed very easily. So keep up the good work.
So, Bianchi, which relative of that was yours? Bianchi?
Grandson.
Okay, he seemed pretty cool. I liked him as a person.
Yeah.
Very smart.
He doesn't seem as wound up as you.
That's because he's not. Nobody is wound up as Bianchi. Well, that's why you make this millions. You have to be persistent. You have to be, have an indelible constitution and have, a passion, for something that goes beyond just a normal.
And diligent.
That's what I said at first.
All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap this up in 15 minutes, so everybody can take a turn.
Trump said that illegals won't be able to get home mortgages. Should be getting home mortgages.
We're doing our conclusion. So my conclusion is that we can't always target foreigners. There's too much foreigner bashing in our country. And the other thing is that eventually the lifeboat, if we do have too many immigrants in our country, it's the lifeboat ethics. We're either going to run out of food or water or something, and then our country will be in a real crisis, Democrat or Republican. So we got to work together to do better.
We're going to go broke. Well, we already are broke. But
We're already broke. What are you talking?
Yeah, I know. I corrected myself.
We're right at 36 trillion, going to 37 trillion. They're looking at 40 trillion after next year, and that is totally disrespectful of the American process, the American dream, the American idea of lifestyle. For us to be $40 trillion in debt means that every one of those white presidents and maybe one of the black ones was at fault for being completely responsible for our finances. You do not build up a $40 trillion debt and expect everybody else in the country to pay their bill. That is not how you work it. You work it like 45 did and say that he was smart because he took advantage of all the tax loopholes and didn't have to worry about any of the laws about keeping his depreciation evaluation down, when it was higher than it was. So, there are a lot of things that we're looking at that need to be solved, and it's not going to be solved. So we've got to put Plan D on the table, and that might mean nationalization for certain people to be able to have some autonomy, because living in a nest of vultures is really not freedom. It's not the way to go, and that's where we're living right now.
Did anybody? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Swamp exists. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, did anybody hear Jerome Powell's speech that he gave the other day about the Federal Reserve and the interest rate, lowering the interest rate?
Yeah, 50 basis points, which is too much. That's showing kind of a, not weakness, but just they're frightened. Powell's frightened. He might be losing control of the Fed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Yes, he did talk about that, and you're right about that as far as what is it being too much. But they're panicking right now because the inflation rate. They're trying to keep it under control. But when he spoke, he talked about the jobs. And that that unemployment is high, and it's going to get higher because of the influx of the amount of people being let into the country. And those were his words, and I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting, because we're constantly being told by different news outlets that it's good to have these people here, that it's as far as jobs, growing jobs, and it's not growing jobs to bring people in, it's actually, cutting jobs. And so, yeah, he admitted that the influx of people entering the country are killing jobs for American people. And he said the American people. Wow. Okay, he's really coming clean. Does he know exactly what he's saying? I hope he does, because somebody's going to fire him soon for actually pointing out what's going on in the country. And so, so if you find time, it's not very long speech, but he talks about all of those things. So check it out.
Okay,
I just wanted to mention that.
I look, whenever I see Jerome, he says the same damn things, only different words. But because he's staunchly he's throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And right now, he's got inflation is still high in many segments of the economy, housing, food, not gas so much anymore, but it's still high, and yet employment is still at 4% for white people. It's more like 12% for black people, because they won't give black people a job, hence the reason we need immigrants. And that is what the Republican pundits, financial pundits, are saying. We need the immigrants to fill up our backlog of workers. And the underlying thing is because white people don't like working with black people.
That don't have anything to do.
It has everything to do with it. Have you
I
ever
tell
been,
you what, what's
you've been
the
on,
meaning
no, Perry, you've been on construction sites, not your own. You've been on other people's construction sites. When you're on construction sites with all white people, you hear the way they talk. You hear the way they rant and rave about everything and give no one not their ilk, any compliment.
The National Society of Black Engineers have a list of 50 preferred contractors. They start from Google all the way down to the Central Intelligence Agency. So apparently something must be going on for them that they will list these companies. Caterpillar, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin. They need to stop saying that stuff.
That's because there's nobody, and for some things, better on an assembly line than black folks. Black folks, if you've been here any time before 1900, we are labor.
We ain't going back to no damn 1900.
Labor 1800s. We're laborers and farmers. That's all we are. If we can't labor and we can't be farmers, then hey, something's gonna happen.
If that was true, how did you get all these black scientists, mechanical engineers, nuclear physics that worked on those projects like the Manhattan Project?
Because you got stupid white people, Bianca.
Oh, bull crap. Y'all need to get off that stuff.
Oh, man, you got
always trying to blame white folks for something.
Yep, because they don't give us the benefit of the doubt.
They ain't got to give it. You're supposed to earn it.
We do earn it, and it takes time. That's why you need to stop whining. And
look at the medium wage. Look at the medium wage of your best historical black colleges. Stop trying to talk over me, man.
I will talk.
Okay, slow down, you guys. Slow down.
Anybody a chance.
Look at the medium salary of your best historical black college. Look at Morehouse. The median salary of the alumni is about $34,000.
Correct.
So what's going on there?
I just told you, and you.
No, it's not. They're not taking the subjects that pay big money. I just told you there's a list that the National Society of Black Engineers put out called the most preferred employers.
Right, and they're just.
Them kids start off around $80,000 a year.
Right, they should. And then the problem with $34,000 is that a lot of these Morehouse and Spelman.
I asked my grandson, I say, how many black students are in your geology class? You know how much he makes? He makes anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a week.
Right. If you're a geologist.
4 to 6 a week.
Right, but how many black geologists?
And getting ready to finish his PhD. Nobody's stopping you from doing that.
Yeah, but Jesse is going to make.
Nobody is stopping you from doing that, Don.
Jane has a PhD and she ain't doing shit.
No, I have a master's, not a PhD.
She has a master's. She still ain't doing shit with it.
I am too. I just applied for my tier 3 level teaching license.
There you go. She still ain't doing shit with it. But bottom line is that
too bad you're not my husband.
It's gonna take time for us to take over.
Ain't no bottom line nothing. You gotta sacrifice. He has no student loan debt. No student loan debt. Not a penny.
No, we don't have it either. And I've got all my kids went to college. And that's because I sacrificed, my wife and I sacrificed whatever we were going to do for years in order to follow them around. I had sons, one son who was going to football, looking at football scholarships. I took him all over the country, from Harvard to Howard to Houston, University of Houston. I'm looking all over the country. Went to Portland State and Boise. Shoot, I was all over the country with him. Ohio State, Illinois.
You know what? If it wasn't for Nigerians make up 40% of the blacks in your Harvard and your Yale. There wouldn't be no blacks.
Right, and that's the whole point. Because
There would be some.
American blacks have never had the opportunities. You're not getting it, guys.
Okay, you guys.
You're not, but you have a different mindset. You're not from America.
Don,
I gotta work middle school tomorrow. We got 5 minutes left.
Harvard and Yale will spot black students who's taking the college entrance exam points. They don't spot whites points. They deduct from Asians. They spot points to them. They spot. Look, they will spot an African American black student 270 points on the SAT.
But there's only a limited number of blacks they'll spot. There's only a limited number of spots in Harvard for anybody, but for blacks.
They spot them 270 points on the SAT. They spot Hispanic.
The radio show is continuing privately amongst themselves in the other room. The main conclusion tonight for the show is that a lot of Trump supporters, such as we had tonight, Bianchi, he sees a lot of things wrong with our country as far as election practices, educational practices. Suzette has reasonable information regarding pragmatic solutions to education. Don does too, to some extent. Really, the educational problems are local. Everything's local. La viva local. I'm tired and I have to teach school tomorrow, and I'm hanging up this broadcast. Good night.